Over the past week, we've had some new images released from Sydney's Eastern Creek Speedway build, and I thought it would be pretty cool to go over all of those images. I've had a few messages and comments about it all, so let's try and break it down and give you as much information as possible. If you're new to the channel or if you just haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe down below and ring the little bell to make sure you get notifications. Check out all of the other videos as well, because they're made just for you guys. Oh, by the way, if you haven't checked out sprintcarhub.com already, you can get merchandise just like this gray t-shirt here. There's only very limited quantities that we could get. Some sizes are already sold out, so make sure you get in quick. Please do check out sprintcarhub.com. All right, let's check out our first image. This is the last shed that's up against the track over in turns 1 and 2. This one's coming off turn 2. On the right hand side is where cars will actually enter the track there. This shed is actually taller and longer than any other of the sheds, and it's got an undercover area. I'm thinking that this shed is going to be used for a different purpose, maybe not to store cars like all the other sheds will do. It's got handrails above, but I'm pretty sure that's just for safety for the construction workers. I don't think that fans will be able to go on top of these, but I could be wrong, because if you look at other pictures, you can see that it looks like there's people on top. Really am not 100% sure about that one. I could be wrong, but this could be maybe where they hold drivers meetings, or maybe they're going to set up a pressure washing station for cars to be washed at the end of a night's meeting. Having on-site washing facilities is something that I love and needs to definitely be implemented from the start with this new speedway, especially with the big water tanks that I think they're called OSD tanks or something, that are already installed on site. This is just to the right of that shed. There's a little concrete pad here. I'm not sure what that would be for. I thought maybe that could be where there's going to be like a scale setup or something for scrutineering. It's on the side of where you go onto the track, so it doesn't really make sense to be where the scales would be set up. This picture shows the opening of the track, so you can see it's not just a straight run onto the track, it's actually like a little bit of a dog leg. Once you're coming onto the track, obviously you're entering at the top of the banking and then you're going down onto the track. On the right hand side, you can see the dust barrier pylons that have been installed, because the dragway is just on the right hand side there. They're not going to want any dust to go on. Obviously they're pretty tall. I still think dust will get over them, because dust, when there's racing going on, the dust goes pretty high, so who knows how effective they will be. And then you can also see that the actual track fencing is still being installed. You've got some of the pylons without any of the netting or wires, whatever you want to call it, but obviously not finished yet. Okay, onto the track now. This shows the grandstand. The first thing I noticed in these pictures is that the seats are installed. I thought that was pretty cool. Looks like they're going with like a reddy maroony seats at the front, and then some yellow, and then white. I think they're white. From what I can count, there's like 8 rows of seats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows of seats. I think there's like, it's like 27 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think Parramatta used to have like 10 sections of seating, and it was 20 rows back and 20 seats wide. If you do the math, let's do the math. Rows that, so that's 4,000 just in a main grandstand alone. It says that the new Eastern Creek Speedway is meant to hold 7,000 total, so that's all the way around. It looks like there's like concrete seating going all the way around as well in this picture, which in the original artist impressions, it was showing grass tiers, kind of like what you see at the Perth Motorplex on the back straight especially, but it shows here that it looks like there's concreted seating, guessing, or the tiers, just like the front straight, so who knows what it's going to end up actually looking like. The corporate area actually looks rather large, which I think is awesome, because it's actually going to show that there's a lot of room for obviously amenities and food servicing areas. Hopefully, like I suggested in, I think it was the very first Sprint Car Hub video, is that they're going to have room for the drivers and teams to sell merchandise out of some of these stalls. Again, I could be wrong, and it's up to the track operators if they want to actually allow teams and drivers to do that. The more you zoom in with these pictures on top, the corporate area is going to be awesome. That is pretty tall. High ceilings, definitely going to be great for sponsors of the track and teams and whoever goes into those corporate facilities, and that's exactly what we want for our new speedway. We were told that those seats would be installed in November, but we were also told that they were hoping to open earlier, but you know, not everything has worked out to plan. All right, this is taken from the edge of turn 2 or exiting turn 2, but where you start to go onto the track. I think the pictures can be quite deceiving. I've seen people comment or message me about how it doesn't look very wide and it doesn't look very banked, but again, I think without the atmosphere and the lights and the cars, clay isn't even on the track yet. It doesn't show the actual size and the banking of the track. I think it actually is a lot wider than you think. and it is a lot more banked than you think. This is also a good picture because it shows where the dust shield or fencing finishes. So you can see the pylons along the back there, and they finish right in the middle of what looks like turns 3 and 4. Again, I can't imagine that it's going to shield everything because there's still going to be dust coming off the cars over on out of turn 4, and I mean, with the wind going in the right direction, I'm sure that'll travel over to the dragway, which is the reason that the fencing was installed in the first place, or is being installed. Okay, so this is a picture of turns 1 and 2, and this actually I think shows quite a bit. So the first thing I noticed, which gives us an indication of how banked the track could be, is this Portaloo, this green and yellow Portaloo, or porta potty, whatever you want to call it, depending on where you're from. I know a lot of the people watching this are from America. What I'm getting at is obviously the fencing, like the top of that Portaloo would be in the height of the middle section of the top wing on a sprint car, and I mean, if the fence is that tall, you're not going to see much of the actual cars if you're, say, sitting in a grandstand. I think the clay, once it's installed, could be up to the height of maybe this line that you can see on the wall on the left-hand side of the porta potty. That is what they said from the start, is that there would be adjustable banking, so you can have a fair bit of banking on the track with the concrete wall still being sufficient for a crash. Now, with that said, like you can see how high that concrete wall is. I think we're going to have a pretty tall concrete wall in comparison to some other tracks. Like if you look at different photos, maybe like Eldora, the wall doesn't look as high in comparison to what this track I think will be based off a lot of, which is Kwinana in Perth. The Perth Motorplex Speedway over there does seem to have a pretty high wall when you see pictures of cars up against the wall. I don't expect, again, for them to just fill half of that wall up with clay to create massive amounts of banking. I think the wall will be quite tall. There's also a wall which we saw on the previous photo of the grandstand. You can see the wall on the inside of the track. I'm not sure if clay is going to be built up to that, or if that's going to be built up higher, or what the deal is there. Maybe that's somewhere that they can mount a wall to when they have the Speedway bike track. We actually haven't heard lots of information about the Speedway bike track. I mean, I have been told that they're going to run Speedway bike events and they're keen to do that. We actually just haven't heard any of that information really, or much about it. Again, you can see the fence posts don't have any of the wiring or mesh added yet, so there's still plenty of work to do there. They have said that they're hoping to open the track on December 18, which is now just like 3 weeks away, and I know these photos were only taken last week, so the amount of work that they've got to do in that time is incredible. And obviously they said in their press release that they're going to just be concentrating on the actual track and the pits and amenities, and obviously any safety structures like the fencing. That will all need to be done within the next 3 weeks if they do plan to have a practice show. Obviously the track includes having all the clay put down, and the clay will need to be properly packed down. It's not just a matter of laying it down and let's have a run on it. And I'm sure obviously the promoters know that. They've run speedways before. But yeah, that's a lot of work to do in the next few weeks. And here in Sydney, we've had so much rain, and it has rained before their announcement and every day since their announcement of wanting to open on December 18 for some practice nights. So, I mean, I've never built a speedway, and I'm sure most of you haven't either, but that is a lot of work to do in those 3 weeks, and I think that's a big effort. They also said in the press release that there would be no spectators on the 18th or the 20th of December when they plan to have practice nights, and they said if they did have spectators, they would have to wait till later on in the season. But I know they do plan on hopefully opening 4 weeks after these practice nights in the middle of January. So, I mean, if they're going to have spectators, you'd have to think that the whole facility is pretty much going to be done by middle of January. I mean, going off what they're saying, that's a lot of work to do within the next 7 weeks to expect spectators and have a fully functioning racetrack. I mean, this track was meant to be done in September, and it's now, they're hoping that it's going to be able to hold spectators by January. Definitely a lot of work to be done in that time. This is a photo of the exit road, which goes behind the pits and behind the grandstands. This photo also shows the back road going behind it. That is the perimeter of the pits. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, if you haven't watched them about the new speedway, make sure you check them out. And this is also where transporters will come into the pits. I found a graphic here somewhere that you can actually see where every transporter and every fan will come into the complex the same way. The transporters will have like a double right. They'll turn right at the roundabout, right in the middle of the car park, and then follow the back road around. See where it's red here? That's where transporters will come around and follow, again back to this picture. They'll come onto this road and come into the pits through here. And that road also leads out to our next photo, which is, this is just facing the other way, where you can see this is just the new exit that they've put onto what is called Ferris Road. So that leads down, if you want to turn left onto Ferris Road, you can see you can go down there. And then on the other side of Ferris Road, they've made a loop road for the transporters to go straight out onto and loop back around. That's if they're turning right. So this photo is taken at basically the very back of the pits. Also at the back of the pits is this massive maintenance shed. So this thing is huge. You can see how big that shed is. That will be for what I'm assuming is going to be for all of the track equipment, you know, like graders and water trucks, and it's basically the maintenance and storage facility for the entire site. I know one of the promoters, Scott Anderson, also runs monster truck events, so I can imagine it could be a place where he stores them as well. This is another photo of the very back of the pit. You can see the grandstand in the distance, and you can see the amount of equipment that is still there. It doesn't look like there's, if any people were there that day, there's not a lot of people, but obviously a lot of equipment. I love this boom gate on the left-hand side, which is open to let people in, but I mean, even when it's down, I think it'd be pretty easy to get past it. Then there was also some photos put up by Speedway's Facebook page themselves, so let's check that out. All right, here we are. We got an update only the other day, again, that this is what I was talking about previously, that they were hoping to have a practice run on Saturday the 18th and Monday the 20th of December without spectators. It'd mean that there's only 120 cars, they're saying. A driver and 4 crew are included, 600 people that they're expecting to accommodate for on the 18th and 20th of December. These photos don't show too much more. We only got 3 photos in their post, but obviously still a lot of work to do. This shows where you first enter on the right hand side, where you'd enter the actual grounds once you've parked your car. This shows the fencing going up, partway completed, and this was the last photo again, which doesn't show a hell of a lot, but yeah, at least they gave us an update before that. It was over a month before we got an update. So it's been about 5 or 6 weeks since we got a proper update from them. Like they said in their press release, they're very busy behind the scenes working with the government and council and teams and working with clubs, all those sorts of things to organise. So I did actually message, I've messaged all of the owners about what the hold up has been, and one of them was kind enough to get back to me. I had been told that it was the construction company, which was the big hold up. I've also been told there's a lot of asbestos found on site. That was a big hold up. Every time they found asbestos, they had to pause work. I'm sure a lot of other people have heard that as well. But one of the owners got back to me and said that the big holdup was COVID and weather. Here in Sydney, we've had not the best weather, so I understand that would be a bit of a holdup, and COVID obviously hasn't helped at all. I know that paused us for at least a month, but I mean, why is the track a good 5 months behind? It seems a bit odd. They also said that only construction delay was everyone getting their vaccination done so that they could work on site. That was pretty kind of them to get back to me and let me know and let you guys know as well. All right, that's it for this video. It was just a quick update, but if you do want to go to sprintcarhub.com, make sure you check out the merchandise. If you do want these insights and tech videos and interviews that I do with drivers and people within the industry, then supporting me on sprintcarhub.com is a massive help. If not, just like this video, comment what you think. I love replying to everyone. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share the video if you can. But yeah, please do get in touch in some way or another. Thanks for watching, guys.